Good morning and welcome to the Learning Ladder. This is part 2, continuing on with my planning series. So I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough of where we're up to, because a couple of days have passed since I last filmed, and then talk about what I'm going to show you in this video. So it's going to be a little bit of me sitting down and talking, and then there'll be some scenes of me doing things like there was last week. Okay, so, or the week after, whenever you last saw the vlog. Okay, so where we're up to, I have my list of what I wanted to accomplish. So in terms of my list, I think I left you with nature study, so left you off with the rainbow drawers and nature study, and then some other things I'd slotted in. It wasn't on my list, which is always the way, isn't it? Okay, so in terms of the rest of the list that I read out to you and what I wanted to accomplish that week, the next item was geography. So that is pretty much done to a point. So it wasn't the skills, we do geography twice a week, and it wasn't the skills day that I had to work on, it was the unit study day. So for the unit study day we are doing Beautiful Feet part 2, but I don't think that's going to take us a year, so I wanted something else to go along with it. And I did find some things on TPT, so Teachers Pay Teachers, but I'm waiting for the back to school sale, which I'm hoping is going to come soon, so I want to get everything printed off. 2 weeks of school left, so I'm hoping the back to school week should be coming up. Everyone seems to be going back to school on YouTube, so that's usually a sign that the back to school week should be, in theory, be coming up, unless they've changed the date of when they're planning to do it. So I'm hoping that that's going to come up within the next 2 weeks so I can print them off. So I've got some unit study type things from there. I was going to make my own, and then I was thinking I've got 2 weeks left, I've got so much other stuff I want to concentrate on. Prioritise, Isabella, what's more important? Does it matter if you make it? No, it doesn't. I know you feel a great sense of achievement when you've made something yourself, but I can get it online at a reasonable price. I'm going to go for it. Okay, so that was that. IT was the next thing after geography. That's pretty much done as well. I just want to go through a couple of, I want to do a couple of extra bits that I need to pick out. So unit study type stuff to add to it. We're pretty much okay covered though for IT. We do our handwriting without tears, keyboarding without tears, so that's typing, and also computer awareness and everything else. And then we do coding, but I also want to dabble a little into some Excel and some more Word with her. So that's kind of the things I was working on with IT. And then the next thing was the interactive notebook. That's just needs photocopying, so that's done. And the next thing was to make calendar pages, which I did do. They're up here on my big pile, which you can't see. I'll turn you. The reason that's there is because I'm waiting to put it on the shelf. It's not because I've got that's a work in progress or anything. No, that's done. I just can't put it on the shelf until I take off all the stuff off the schoolroom shelf of things we're not using this year. So that's why that's there. I'm not super disorganized or messy. Maybe a little. No, it's organized chaos. And then the last thing was to make copywork printables, and I haven't done that yet, so that's still to be carried over to this week, is to make copywork printables. And then I've got 2 weeks left, as I said, of what I need to do. The things that I haven't done, things that I have done that I didn't include on my list have moved me to the point now where we're getting ready to be done. So in terms of what's left, I have to, it's the fine little details now, so I'm going through all the curriculum, writing down how many lessons there are and everything. And basically I use my bullet journal. So this is the one from last year that I used, the scribbles that matter. I have got a bigger one that I'm going to use because this was actually my reading journal, but I also used the back section because I knew I wouldn't finish it this year, although I am carrying on to use it. I will carry on to use it obviously in the next year. I knew I wouldn't finish this year, so I stole a couple of pages from it at the back to do my record keeping, I guess you could say. So basically I read every lesson that we had, and then I would colour a different square. I like colour and it makes me happy to see colours. So I did like a rainbow theme. So I'm going to do that again, but I've got my own new journal that's just for homeschooling. I bought it in a sale at Christmas time, well, New Year, you know, Christmas, New Year time. So I'm going to use that to do the record keeping. And why don't you put it in your organiser, Isabella? Because it gets too thick otherwise, and I don't know, I really like bullet journaling and I would like to transition into it, but the thought of doing all the layouts just doesn't appeal, that you would need for homeschool. So for right now, I'm still using a regular type planner that I do make myself, but I would eventually like to transition to bullet journaling for everything, but it's finding the right system. And it'd be nice if I could have a bullet journal that was half done, so all the dates and everything were in there. There was planning, homework school planning pages. So where was I up to? Okay, so yes, I have got a specific bullet journal just for homeschool this year. So I'm going to go through that and write down every little fine detail of what lessons are for recording purposes, so then I can do my colouring again. I'm not sure if I want to take a funky design this year. Now I'm a bit more adventurous with bullet journaling, should I say. So I might do that. I haven't decided yet. Depends on time, because like I said, I've got 2 weeks, I want to get it all done. So does it really need to be fancy? No. But will it make my little heart happy? Yes. But I also want to be done. So anyway, so yes, find details of what's left to do in terms of actually writing it into my official planner. That's where we're up to mostly, because as I said, geography's done. IT just needs a couple of tweaks here and there. I've started making my book list. I told you in my how I plan my year video that I make a book list of all the books that we're going to use. So I've done it for science and I've done it for history. The only thing I haven't done it for is read alouds, but that in theory should be done mostly through Torchlight, because I'm just following their read aloud schedule. The ones that I wanted to include, I'll just schedule in. And I've mentioned in my how I teach reading for All About Reading level 2, I think it was. I think that's where I mentioned it, that we do kind of like a morning basket and then evening basket. Kind of, it's not a basket, it's basically all my drawers, but we could put it in a basket, maybe we should. That we do of a night time, she does her reader, and then we do a read aloud before bed. So usually that's 2 picture books, 1 to 2 picture books depending on how long they are, and then a read aloud. So where I mentioned in my homeschool curriculum video that I had some extra read alouds I wanted to include, that will be when we'll do them. During the daytime read aloud that's on my homeschool schedule, that'll be the Torchlight read aloud. So that's where we're up with that. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Oh, Passport to Adventures. There's a couple of things I need to do with that still. I want to put all the activities into my own Pinterest board that she's mentioned. We're keeping it very straightforward with Passport to Adventures. You can go really in depth with it, but because she has like extra links where she's put lesson plans, which were made from my teacher by the looks of it. We're not going to go into that much in depth with it, because that's all cross-curricular activities, and that would be amazing to do if that was your only curriculum, but it isn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it very simple. We're going to read the book. If anything sparks her interest, then we'll go down the rabbit hole. We are going to play a game. Now, some of the things that she's put on her game list, I will try to get, or I'll find a game that's similar, because some of them I can't get. I think there's like some of them are slightly older versions of things. I don't know. They don't seem to be available, or really expensive if they are. So I'll just find, other games that will go. Some of the games are fine, but some of them not so much. But I'll just fit in other games. It doesn't have to be exactly. She's just giving me ideas. She's not saying you have to play this game. There's usually an art or a craft activity, so we will do that. And then there's usually some kind of like Magic School Bus show or something along the lines that she's recommended. We will do that. And then there's usually at the bottom movie night. Well, we do that anyway, so we can just tick that box. And then she'll mention some kind of like little writing activity that you can go along with it. So we'll pick one of those. So we're just keeping it very simple with the Passport to Adventures. But there are things I want to plan for. In terms of if I need to get any movies, in terms of if there are any additional games I want to purchase, because I haven't quite finished doing that. I'm thinking off the top of my head while I'm talking to you, is there anything else? I don't think so. So we're nearly there. 2 weeks left. But writing everything down into your planner is the last step for me, because then that means it's all done. But anyway, we're going to have a quick look at my main planning book. I'm not going to show you my terrible writing. It's not too bad. I would really like to get better at writing. And I did buy a calligraphy book at Christmas that I wanted to do, but I haven't actually got into it yet. But over the summer, you never know, I might get a chance. So yeah, my crappy writing. So in terms of what's in here, we have okay, so Story of the World, I need to really hurry up. Story of the World, I've wrote down the weekly project that we want to do. So for example, for chapter 1, The Glory That Was Rome, it's a flying around the world carpet. That sounds so fun. So she's going to do a craft around that. So a little picture of herself on the carpet. Oh, that reminds me, that's another thing I need to do. make my supplies list for Story of the World, which I have actually written what supplies I need. I just need to actually check that we have them, and if we don't, buy them. And the same with science. So that's another 2 things I need to do on my list. Okay, so I've done that for every week. So that's what's in here, the Story of the World. And I have written the books, so by chapter, what books that we're going to read that week, and what resources. So for example, I bought things like the history timeline, the British history timeline as well, and then things like Knights and Castles, sticker book, and all those types of things. So I've wrote all those on, as well as the type of read aloud that we wanted to do for a weekly basis. And then for British history / social studies type stuff, I have got the Great Fire of London, Sir Christopher Wren. We are doing Guy Fawkes, the Gunpowder Plot. We are doing Alexander Graham Bell for telephone, the Wright Brothers, airplane inventions, which also we can do for STEM, the Great Exhibition with Victoria and Albert, and lightly going on World War II, just lightly, because as I said, when we do our British history and social studies, that's in addition to Story of the World, so we don't go into massive detail, just like a taster. And then if she's really interested in any of them, then we can make it into a unit study. And then I'm also going to be talking about women, so amazing women from around the world, and also some social rebel type figures. Although they're not really rebel, they were just, you know, at the time they stood out, and that was a book that I showed you in my Book People haul, and I think I showed it in my curriculum haul as well. I did, yes. Okay, so that's all in the history section. We've got the elemental science section, and again I've done the same thing. I have written down which crafts we want to do or activities from that particular week. So for example, week 1, Planet Earth, we're making a model of Earth and a model of the moon, and there's a Earth Rice Krispie treat for baking. So those are the activities that I put down, and I've just done the same for the whole unit, for each unit that are in the curriculum. Okay, and then we'll move on to Torchlight. So I've gone through Torchlight and I've wrote down any supplies that we need for the energy lab and what the actual energy lab activity was. I have gone through the history projects that they had in there and made a list of what they were and what we wanted to do, what page they were on, and then I've gone to the language arts and done exactly the same, and what week they were going to be and which ones I wanted to do. I've gone to the good and the beautiful, and I've wrote down any writing projects that were in there, so that we were prepared for them, so that I wasn't scheduling 2 writing projects in the same week. So with Torchlight, and so for example we were making a book in Torchlight, I wasn't going to make a book in the good and the beautiful at the same time, so I wrote down when they were to occur within the curriculum so I could schedule them properly. And then I wrote down some writing prompts as well. So I've got writing prompts from September to July. With writing, when we do our sort of creative writing, there's a story ready to narrate to me, I don't usually have to give her a prompt, but I wrote a few down just in case, and also maybe to just offer her options if she wants to think about doing a writing prompt this year. But she doesn't have to, and to be honest, if she wants to write about anything, I'm more than willing to narrate it for her. Narrate it for her. Write it for her. Because obviously that's the creative outlet. I don't want to be saying, well, you need to write about this, you know. But I just picked some prompts. So for example, quite generic. So October, the last pumpkin, if I were a black cat, create a creature, and then the witch's grocery list. So, you know, nothing sort of and nothing sort of crazy or anything, but, you know, some fun stuff. And then I've got some additional ideas for language arts. So I've got things like making a story map. She likes dinosaurs, so we would be using one of the dinosaur books for that. We have let's see, an imaginative poster on sea creatures. We have design a garden, create packaging for a project, so like a business study type thing, so she can choose a product to sell, make packaging for it, and, you know, advertisement for it, or advertisements for it, depending on which country you're in. We've got to write a non-fiction report, you know, just some extra. There's quite a few. I'm just reading like random ones for you, extra language arts ideas that we can incorporate. And then we have got the literature pocket for Evermore. That's another thing that's on my list. I need to photocopy that. I did purchase a few of the Confession of a Homeschooler's lap books a few years ago, and we haven't really used any of them yet. So we have Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe and Charlotte's Web. So we could possibly do those. We do them as read alouds first, and if she expresses interest in them, we can do a lap book on them. We have read both of them before. It was audiobook though. We haven't actually physically read them, so I want to do that this year. I didn't actually show them in my read aloud because I didn't show everything that I wanted to read aloud this year, but they are on my evening read aloud list. Also including Pippi, the Worst Witch series, which was one of my favourites. I love that series. Wind on the Willows as well. And then I wrote some additional readers down on here that I didn't show you in my curriculum haul that I wanted to include. So we've got the Katie Morag series, Mrs. Pepperpot series, some more Flat Stanley, some more Enid Blyton. Okay, and then we've moved on to art. So I wrote down all the things that I wanted to do for art that was included with Torchlight. Haven't wrote down everything that I wanted to do for art that was included with Yellow Spot Sun because it's all in there, so I don't feel like I really need to. The reason I have done with Torchlight is because that's one of our main curriculums, and also because I wanted to make sure I wasn't, as I said, scheduling 2 literature projects at the same time. Taster of what I write down into my planning book. So I hope that was interesting a little bit. There's tons more in here. I don't really want to witter on for hours. For nature study, again, I wrote down everything that I wanted to cover, books that we were using, corresponding chapters for certain things. What else is in here? Anything else to interest you? As I said, I wrote down science books that we were going to cover. So that's basically the type of things that I write into my project book. So sort of more in detail than what you would put into your planner, so that I can refer back to it. So once I'm actually writing in my planner, I'm just doing an abbreviated form. So I'm saying week 1, you know, day 4, but obviously there's flexibility in there. You know, we don't have to do it on day 4 of the week, but you know, I just put it into my planner. We could do it on day 1 if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter in terms of that, but I just write it down in my planner that way for simplicity. You know, write a comic book, abbreviated, and then in here is the full information about, you know, all the kind of the goals I wanted to achieve. In terms of goals for the homeschool year, they are all in here as well. I just have language arts and math goals, and then a few social skill type goals as well. So that's everything in terms of my talking part of the video. I'm going to show you some stuff now. So in terms of what we're doing, so as I said, today is Saturday. We are doing, as well as me trying to fit in some homeschool planning here and there throughout the day, we are doing a rug doctor cleaning. So we've hired the rug doctor. We have also have an appointment at the vet. So both dogs need flea medicine, to, not because they have fleas, but you know, to stop them from getting fleas. We do it regularly every month. They have flea medicine. And Quinn needs wormer because obviously she's a baby, she's due her wormer. No vaccination today, thank goodness. We did have a nightmare with an accident that she had the other week. My husband dropped her onto a concrete floor. It was 11 o'clock at night. I was in bed and I heard this almighty howl, came running down the stairs, and he dropped her onto the concrete. It was an accident, but she was in pieces, not literally, but you know, in terms of how she felt. So he rushed to the emergency vet, and she required pain medication. Then the next day I had to take her to my regular vet, and she had to be anaesthetised to have an x-ray. She was only like 10 weeks old, and you've seen how small she is. It's just heartbreaking. Thankfully she is recovering well. Nothing was broken. I think it was just more soft tissue injury, so she had medicine, pain medicine throughout to you know, help, but she's back to a completely normal self now, eager to go. But thank goodness for pet insurance, because that cost over £700. We do have excess though, which sucks, but you know, it's better than paying £700. So yeah, so we're going to the vet. Thankfully it's just for regular stuff today. So in terms of what we're doing, as I said, we're doing rug doctor, we have a vet appointment. I want to fit in some planning, and then tomorrow we have got a bumper crop of apples from our apple tree. I did make some apple sauce with them. That is not the best because they should have stayed on the tree for a bit longer, but we had to start taking them off because we didn't use any kind of insecticide or anything, and the bugs were taking advantage. So we had to take them before it was too late. But I've left some middle and upper, hoping that they'd give them a bit more time, because one of them is a eating apple tree, which hasn't done too well this year. A few. But the baking apple tree has done amazing this year, and I want to see if I can make some more apple sauce, but they need longer basically. or, you know, apple pie, apple crumblers types of things, but they need longer, and I'm not sure, because we didn't use any insecticide, whether we're going to be able to do that. As I said, I did make some applesauce yesterday, but I had to add so much sugar to it for it to actually taste remotely sweet, because they just weren't ready. And obviously that's not good for your teeth, so I didn't give any to my daughter. My husband ate it all because I didn't want to eat it either, to protect my teeth. My husband did. We'll do that tomorrow and ride a bike and all this kind of thing, so we're not stuck in the whole weekend cleaning. But you've got to, sometimes you have to do chores, so we do need to clean the carpets obviously, because we've had a new puppy and she's getting pretty good, but she has had quite a few accidents, much more than Jace did, and I think that's because she's so much smaller, so her bladder is just so much smaller, naturally speaking. So yes, we've got getting the rug doctor in. She's getting better, so she will now go outside in terms of me saying go wee, and she will actually wee on command. We're still working with poo, but generally speaking, she is really obvious when she needs to go for that. So generally the accidents we've been having mostly are pee ones, which is why we need to hire the rug doctor.
Excuse me, Mama?
Yeah, so that's what we're up to. So I'll do, as I said, a few little clips here and then I'll show you what we're doing this weekend in terms of homeschool stuff, and generally speaking, my husband might cut out a few things for me because I need to cut out a few things for the Good and the Beautiful. Should we go and ask him if he likes to do that? I do all the homeschool stuff, but occasionally I will say to him, can you please cut something out for me or laminate something? He doesn't do it very often, but I might ask him this weekend in between doing some rug doctor stuff. I do rug doctor too, he doesn't just do it by himself, so I think he can maybe cut a few little things out for me. We'll see. Should we go ask him if he likes to do that? Like cutting things out for school? Is it?
It's not that I don't like them, it's simply that I'm busier now, but yeah, I want to have some more time for it.
Do you like doing the rug doctor?
Not particularly, but I know it needs to be done.
What's left over from the lower branches, quite a lot. So, although I'm sure my husband will try and sneak some out because he still likes the applesauce even though it's got so much sugar in it. Breakfast. Outfit of the day. Yay! It's summer. Who cares if you have white legs? I don't, otherwise I'd never wear shorts. And makeup for today, just nothing exciting. We're only going to the vet, so just quite natural. The rug doctor. We usually use at least 2 of the urine eliminators when we have a puppy, and then we usually buy the 4-litre carpet detergent. So we have carpets in the living room, bedrooms, schoolroom, hall, landing, stairs, but I want to get wooden floor in here. With having 2 dogs now and they're both going to be hairy, I definitely want to get rid of this carpet. We've had it since we moved into this house now anyway, so it is, we did buy it new, but it is definitely ready to go. But I can't afford to get it yet. Hoping in the autumn time we can get wooden floor, and that'll massively reduce the amount of time we have to clean the carpets, hopefully. So upstairs aren't too bad, but the living room is the one that's obviously majorly hit with her accidents. So say hello to the rug doctor. Never ever had any pears. This is our pear tree, but this year we've got 1 and 2 on our little pear tree. One's on trampoline. This is Plum. She's doing quite well. And this is Cherry. We did have quite a few on Cherry, but the bird stole them all. My husband did get a couple to eat for himself, but I haven't had any. But he said they were really sweet, so that's good. But this is Cherry Tree. Making them sound like the people. Hello, meet Cherry Tree. Slide. She really likes the slide. She always jumps on it. People, Quinn. Hello. Sunflowers. They're a bit parched because it's been really hot, but they're starting to focus. There we go, starting to bud a bit. And up here as well. And then this one over here. Oh, what's this one called? What's this one called? Remember her name?
Daisy.
Is it Daisy? That's the name she picked for it. Got our table. Definitely needs a new table. Well, can't get one at the moment, so needs must. There's Tom, he's doing well. got those bigger ones down there, and then some little small ones over here. Hopefully they'll grow a bit more. You could do with some food though, I think. I'm going to do some cutting out. This is snoozing. I've just washed the sofa cushions, so I've put a sheet down. He's snoozing. The Quinn's snoozing too. They're all cut out, and what I'm going to do is, in my summer haul / homeschool haul that you saw, there was this little A5 wallets. I'm going to store the little pieces in those A5 wallets. This floor has been done, this carpet. It's still a bit wet, as you can see there, but it's looking much better. The rug doctor does a good job. It's expensive. Not too bad to hire, but it's the cleaning fluid on top makes it really expensive, but it does a good job. I actually put the rug in the washing machine, but it has been rug doctored again, just to be sure. So it's looking nice. And there's the butterflies. There's number 1 and number 2 there. Still waiting on that last one, so I'm going to let them free, I think, and we're just going to wait for that one to come out once we get back from the vet, because as you can see they're coming to the top, so to me that means they want to go free. The fishies, we're waiting to see the vet.
Oh, goldfish!
They're so pretty.
Wow, look at that one!
They're so pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the end of the day again. I am just about to make dinner. I'm not going to make any more video clips because, again, this video is really long, but I'm not going to do part 3. I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do later. Later I'm going to get our wet boxes ready. I usually do that on a Friday night, but I'm doing that tonight instead for the week, and then I am going to carry on, as I said, making lists of how many lessons are in each particular curriculum, and then transcribing that over into my bullet journal in my little record keeping section, and then I'm going to start filling in my actual planner, and that'll be for the next 2 weeks, and that'll be us done hopefully, and we'll be ready to have a nice break. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.